This time on Film Ranker, we are counting down the top 10 modern zombie movies. While we all love the Romero classics and B-movies of the old school era, there is a new generation of zombie films that are well worth talking about, even if they occasionally have fast zombies and weird viruses. So let's take a look at just those films that have come out since the year 2000. Here is the best of the 21st century so far. Number 10. Zombieland. It's a Hollywood movie in a genre that is built on DIY, blood, and tears. It's a bit like having a pop band play at a punk festival. Even if they're good, the fans are never going to love them. All of that said, it is still a good, fun movie, and it deserves its success. All four leads are great. Bill Murray's mansion is a funny pit stop, and the idea of zombies in a theme park is pretty much just as fun as promised. But there still is that studio-driven undercurrent that is just a little bit hard to shake. Number 9. 28 Weeks Later. With no Danny Boyle or Cillian Murphy, fans expected the worst from this sequel, but to everyone's surprise, it's pretty darn good. It's the rare sequel that has none of the same characters while still carrying on the story of the franchise. It's a follow-up that expands the world instead of the characters, and it works. In particular, Robert Carlyle is great as the lead, and there are a few fantastic set pieces. Even if it wasn't connected to the original, this would still have been a great film. Number 8. Land of the Dead. It may not be as good as the original trilogy, but George A. Romero's long-awaited sequel is still somewhere between good and very good. This time, Romero turns his social commentary to the class divide between rich and poor. It's a bit less subtle, but still effective. This is Romero's biggest, most expensive movie, which is sometimes kind of a negative, but does also make for a few very cool scenes. And even a pretty good zombie film by Romero standards is better than a great zombie film from almost everyone else. Number 7. Dead Snow. Nazi zombies fighting Norwegian students who find a chest of hidden gold at a mountain cabin. Sign me all the way up. This movie is as ludicrous as that sounds. It goes way, way, way over the top, gleefully throwing more and more insane situations at you with every turn. B-movies have always been a big part of the zombie world, and this one is a gem. Number 6, The Battery. This indie film has been sadly overlooked. It is a beautiful movie about two former baseball teammates traveling together after the zombie apocalypse. This is a bit like what a 19-year-old Richard Linklater might have done if he had made zombie movies. It's a bit of a slow burner, but it is definitely worth it. There are moments of real joy and sadness and brotherhood, all set to a fantastic indie soundtrack. Number 5. Dawn of the Dead. It's a pretty tall order to remake what most people consider to be the best zombie film of all time, but Zack Snyder took on the challenge and mostly delivered. It sticks to the bones of the original while still doing its own thing, and James Gunn's script is good enough to make that thing work. In a lot of ways, this film is a great bridge between the old school and the new generation. Number 4. Record. The 2007 Spanish original came a bit late to the found footage party, but it is good enough that you won't care. The film that has spawned 3 sequels, as well as an American remake and sequel, is low-budget filmmaking at its best, with some exceptionally clever choices throughout. It does a great job of making us feel as claustrophobic as the characters while it slowly peels back its horrifying layers. Number 3. Shaun of the Dead. The film that kicked off Edgar Wright's career is also the best zombie comedy ever made. It is certainly a comedy first, with characteristically funny stuff from Nick Frost and Simon Pegg and some really fun takes on zombie genre tropes. But it is still a legitimate zombie movie, with some intense action and a busload of deaths. Comedy horror can be a tricky line to walk, but this film does it brilliantly. Number 2, Train to Busan. If you haven't seen it, go find the Korean original quick before the American remake comes out. There are some great sequences of rolling hordes of zombies, a nice setup of being trapped on a train, and some surprisingly deep characters that you are going to get attached to. This might be the first time you cry at a zombie film, and it might be more than once. Number 1, 28 Days Later. Some will say that the virus and fast-moving zombies disqualify this from zombie status, but those people are wrong. Most people are going to see this movie as the beginning of the new era of zombie films and one of the most important horror films of the 21st century. This movie was one of those lightning in a bottle moments, with Danny Boyle providing his always fantastic direction and Alex Proyas writing a very clever script, and then put that together with a fantastic soundtrack. Though the real heart of it is Cillian Murphy, who brings such a depth to Jim. I mean, that climactic scene when he saves his friends in the house, that is pretty much unbeatable. And that wraps up another episode. Thanks for listening, and it would be pretty rad if you wanted to like or subscribe or head down to the comments section to mention any cool new zombie films that I may have missed. Hopefully, I'll see you all next time.